So, my dumbass almost forgot to make this video again, and I'm definitely late, but we're here nonetheless. So I wanted to give a prediction on this Danny Garcia versus Jose Benevides fight. I like David Benavidez. I think that Jose pales in comparison to David. I don't think he's quite the fighter that David Benavidez is. I think Danny will win this fight. I don't know that Danny's going to get a stoppage because, and I don't say this to be cliche, but Mexican fighters are very tough fighters. Jose Benevides in particular, I've seen him fight a couple of times. Not many times, but I've seen him fight a couple of times. Saw him fight Crawford. I saw his last fight, which he completely underperformed in. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is he's a tough kid. He's a tough fighter. And on top of that, you had Danny fighting at 140. And, then he moved up to 47, and it was kind of, all right, can he carry his power up? Can he handle the bigger weights? Can he take the shots from the guys at 47? So I think that when you look at Danny's jump from 40 to 47, he didn't really seem to have trouble, especially with his chin. Danny's chin is tremendous. And I wouldn't say that he had trouble carrying anything up to the weight. It at least to me, visually, it doesn't seem to be the weight so much that bothered Danny Garcia. And this is not to say that he didn't beat any big names at 140 or anything like that. Amir Khan and stuff. So I'm not trying to take that away, but I'm just saying at 47, I just feel it was a different animal. I don't think it was. We could just blame it on the size. I don't think it was the 7 pounds that really did it, but Garcia didn't do great at 47. I'm not saying he did terrible, but he didn't do great at 47 in comparison to what he did at 40. But again, I don't think that the 7 pounds is solely to blame for that. I mean, if you look at the people that he fought at 47, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. I mean, he fought all top guys and stuff. And aside from the Errol Spence loss, I'm not saying that I believe that Garcia won the Porter fight or that he won the Thurman fight, but I thought he looked good in those fights. I mean, I thought he put up a great fight. Those were good fights. They were competitive fights. To me, those are those fights where, like, regardless of how you had them scored, and I'm not saying that they were, but, you could have had those fights 8-4 for Porter or Thurman. It still was a close fight. On paper, points-wise, maybe not, but in general, was still a close... I'm sorry, I'm being interrupted here. In general, as a fight, they were close, competitive fights. Same thing with, like, Mayweather-Cotto, right? On points, Mayweather clearly won that fight, but you wouldn't call that fight easy. That was one of Mayweather's tougher fights. So, you look at the jump from 40 to 47, and it really wasn't great. Now he jumps again to 54. Now, not only is he jumping again after not doing as well in his second weight class as he did in his first one, but I kind of question, like, why is he jumping up? And I was just talking to my boy about this. He was saying that he thinks it probably just has to do with age and the weight and stuff like that. And I think that plays a factor, but I don't think it's the sole reason. I shouldn't say I don't think it is, because I'm not... Listen, let me get this out of the way right now, too. Danny Garcia is one of my favorite current fighters, one of my favorite active fighters. So I don't in any type of way want to sound like I'm trying to bash Danny Garcia, because I'm not. Danny Garcia is one of my favorite fighters. But it just seems a little bit odd to me. I mean, if Garcia wants a belt back right now, right, he's got to beat either Spence or Crawford. And taking all the politics out of boxing, which we know there's plenty, and let's just say he could have one of those fights next. I mean, do we think that he wins either one of those fights? I mean, he hasn't fought Crawford, and I'm not saying I don't want to see him fight Crawford, but if him and Crawford were to meet, I'd pick Crawford for the win. And he already fought Spence, and Spence beat him, again, one of those fights where Danny was in there, Danny was fighting, Danny didn't go down, Danny didn't go out, Danny didn't quit, Danny didn't get beat up in a sense like Ugas did, right? And again, I'm not trying to shit on Ugas, but Ugas kind of got beat up, you know what I mean? I didn't think like Danny got beat up like that or nothing, but he lost to Spence. He clearly lost to Spence. So I think the real hopes, at least right now, for Danny Garcia being a champion at 147 are kind of out the window. So it's like, is he going to 54 because he thinks maybe there's like an easier route to a belt or whatever the case is? My issue with the whole thing is I think Danny Garcia is a much better fighter when we're talking about skill-wise, natural ability, stuff like that. And let me choose my words carefully here. I think Danny Garcia is a much better boxer. Both guys can fight. Both guys tough guys. Mexico versus Puerto Rico, great rivalry. Great rivalry. Both spots always produce tough fighters and stuff like that. So there's no question about that. But my point is that when you go up against the guy, and I'm not questioning that Danny's going to win this fight because I definitely think that Danny's going to win this fight, but it's the type of fight where when you have a guy, you're moving up in weight. I believe Jose Benevides has fought at 160 before. So, I mean, even if I'm wrong about that, when you have a guy you're fighting at a higher weight, who's naturally a bigger dude than you, and he's a tough dude on top of it, and he's Mexican on top of that, I mean, the odds of you stopping that dude are getting slimmer with everything that I'm naming. And I just feel like when you're going against a dude that you're a better boxer than, you have more skills than, you have a better resume than, all the cards are in your favor, but I'm still kind of looking at it as like, but he's moving up in weight and the other dude is bigger and he is tough and, yada, yada. Again, that's not saying that I think Jose Benavidez is going to win, but I'm just not sure on what angle this is a great move for Garcia. Are you moving to 54 to get away from the killers at 47? Are you moving to 54 to take an easier route to get a belt? If you go in there and you have, this fight with Jose Benevides and you win by decision, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying, what move is that for your career? I mean, that's certainly not the same as fighting Crawford or something like that. So, again, I'm not trying to shit on Danny or like read too much into it, but I'm not really a giant fan of what's going on. And, my tone may change after Saturday. I think it will be a good fight, but, maybe Danny does something that I say, oh, shit, okay, you know what? Fuck what I said. Danny belongs at 54, and he might be, one of the guys at 54 now. So we'll have to see what happens Saturday, and maybe my opinion changes. But I will be in the building on Saturday. I am going to the fight at Braclays Center. I'm going to roll out there with my pops. I've never been to a fight with my pops before, but we've been talking boxing for a long time. So I'm excited I get to go see one of my favorite current fighters, and I get to roll out there with my pops and go see a fight with my pops and stuff like that. And my man Junior Unin is fighting on the undercard. He's 16-0 right now. He's also from Brooklyn, so keep a lookout for that. Like I said, I'll be in the building. My final prediction, I got Danny Garcia winning this fight by unanimous decision. Peace.